talking with people about how to have a great retirement. This is the Rock Your Retirement Show. We don't talk about money, but we talk about almost everything else you need to rock your retirement. Now, here's your host, Kathe Kline.
Hey, listener, we have something a little bit different for you today. It just so happens that both Barbara and I have just got done. Actually, I'm not completely done yet, but Barbara has just finished doing some organizing in her house, and I am in the process of organizing. And so we thought we would tell you how a little organization can make your life so much better. So Barbara, let's talk about what you have just got done doing.
Oh my gosh, Kathe, I was telling you before we started that now when I walk into my closet, it makes me happy. I have a big smile on my face. So just to back up a little bit, if you are moving as a result of retirement to right sizing, you'll be forced to get rid of some things, decide what's important, purge, and so forth. And I think we've talked about that before with another author. But then once you get to the place, you're really not sure how things are going to go. So when we moved in, we've got a modest size house with a modest size closet, and it just had the single wire rack around it, kind of like in a U shape. And I said to Mike, I go, I'd really like to do something with this, but I want to live with it for a while. So we just hit our 1-year anniversary of our new place. And I've been going through boxes in the garage, boxes that were put in closets, and slowly but surely trying to organize things. But this closet was kind of the last thing to tackle. So a couple of things that I've done in the past and this time that have worked for me is a donation bag. And what I do at least once a month, or if I buy some new clothes, is I do a 2-for-1. So if I buy something new, I look for 2 things that I don't think I'm wearing, I don't think I look good in, maybe it's the wrong color, and I pull it. But I always want to be sure because I'm not wasteful and I want to make sure that I really don't need it. So I put it in a donation bag and I put it in the guest room. And so in that bag, just every other week, if there's something in there, I put it in there. If I ever go back, I give myself permission to pull it out. But you know what? I never go back. Once it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And then the rule is for both my husband and I is once you've decided it's been 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, however long you had that bag, no looking in the bag, no going through it. You just take the bag, twist it up, and take it to your favorite charity. So that's helped a lot. But what we did in our closet is we hired a company called Closets by Design. And we had a designer that came with, and it's expensive, I have to say. It is expensive to have a custom-made closet. But the thing is she measured everything we had. She counted the inches of how much we needed to hang. She counted how many shoes we had. And I have to say, it was a really, really great experience, the kind of the give and take and figuring all of that out. And then one day we had to move everything out. So right then and there, I said, okay, there's some things I can just get rid of right now. They came in, they installed it in a half a day. The carpet got put back. And then with a critical eye, I said, does this really need to go in the closet? And I found some things that I literally have not worn for years. And that was after I had purged. Same with some shoes. I don't know why I hang on to shoes that the sole is worn out and they don't tie anymore. And I'm just like, what is the problem? It's just like you're afraid you're going to run out, but you don't ever wear this stuff. So Kathy's, I'm recording in my closet.
Yes, listeners, she always records in her closet since she moved because that's actually the best sound buffering area. A lot of podcasters record in their closet. I bet people don't know that. But tell them what you did for your podcasting in the closet. Tell them the extra thing that you had installed.
We put in our office. We put in a desktop, a place for the printer, and a place for all of our boxes and everything. And in fact, when this airs, I have a before and after. I'll just post it on the Facebook page to give you an idea. It just is dreamy to have everything organized, a place for purses, a place for all that stuff. And yes, it does cost money, but your sense of joy and well-being, and it's so much easier to be organized when you have the physical places to put everything. I had been sharing a dresser with my husband and I only had 2 little drawers. So my underwear was there, my socks were there. Now I have 5 drawers inside my closet and I can't even fill it with all this stuff, right? I don't even have enough to do that. So I think whether it's your kitchen, whether it's your bathroom, whether it's your garage, whether it's your closet, how much time, ask yourself, do I waste playing solitaire on my computer? Watching television, not exercising, right? We procrastinate. We just think, oh, it's too big a job. I just do a little bit at a time. And to be honest, my style of house is called cozy minimalist. I don't have a lot of bric-a-brac. I don't have a lot of stuff hanging around. It's a pretty simple house. In fact, I think I've said before, my husband said it feels like we live in an Airbnb because it's just not as homey as what some people have. I'm not a collector, I'm a purger. But even so, I think making a commitment to yourself to organize one space, even if you did one space once a week for an hour, over time, you're going to feel lighter, more joy, and less stress having to sort through and look for things that you know is there somewhere, but it's buried under so much stuff.
Oh, I hear you. So
tell your story.
Well, I have had an art studio on my kitchen table, on my dining room table, since we moved here 6 years ago. It's gotten worse and worse and worse. And what I used to do if I'd have somebody come over is put everything in a plastic bin, put it in the bedroom, and then put it all back out on the table. And then I started, if we would have people over, I'd entertain in our lanai. And for those of you that don't know what a lanai is, it's kind of like an outside room, but it has windows. And our lanai has plastic windows, not the hard plastic like what I saw in San Diego, but I call it saran wrap windows. So it's hot in the summer and it's cold in the winter. But it does keep bugs out and stuff like that. And then this year, I told my husband that I wanted to get a split. And for those of you that don't know what a split is, it is a air conditioner and heating thing that you put in a small room. They have them in Europe. It's probably what they have in hotel rooms, where you control your own.
My son has them in a section of his house that it wasn't practical to do the furnace. It's a part of the house. And the splits are great because you can push them to be cool or hot, but they're self-contained. They're not connected to a furnace system.
Yes. And we had to put a hole in our wall. So the unit is actually on the outside of our house. And then there's a unit on the inside of the lanai, along with the remote control where I control the temperature. And my husband estimated it costs about $1 a day to heat and air condition that room. Now that happened back in August. And it has been sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. I wanted the split so that I could move all of my art supplies into that room, so that I would have a proper studio instead of having everything cluttering up my house in the kitchen/dining room area. And so finally, I started looking. I said, you know what? I need to get serious about this. And one of the things that was preventing me from moving everything out there was the fact that it can be humid out there. And when it rains, sometimes the water soaks from underneath the floor. And so the floor will be wet, even though all the windows were shut and the rain isn't coming in through the windows. It's seeping up through the floors. And so I'm thinking, well, anything I put out there that's made out of wood or press wood is going to get destroyed in a couple of years. It's not going to last very long. And so I was thinking, well, how can I get some storage out there that is going to hold up? And we have a wood shop where I live. And so I talked with the wood shop and they said, yeah, we can make things out of cypress wood. And I'm like, okay, well, that would be okay. I did want to be able to see through because I'm one of these people, if I can't see it, it doesn't exist. And this is one of the reasons I have everything on top of the dining room table, so I know where it is. And by the way, we bought this big storage thing that looks nice that's in the dining room area that was supposed to contain all of my art supplies. And it did for a couple of weeks. And then I just started putting more things on the table. So cypress wood idea was going to be quite expensive because everything was going to be custom made. And I wanted the storage to be low so that it didn't block the windows. And then finally, I started thinking, well, why does it have to be wood? Why can't it be plastic? Mm-hmm. I knew exactly what I wanted because maybe 6 or 8 months ago, I got a small storage container that was exactly what I wanted, but too small. But this storage box was exactly what I wanted. So I went on Amazon and I ordered what I thought was the large size version of this. Mm-hmm. And it didn't have the frame that the small one had. It was a different brand. The brand that I had didn't make large ones. And there's a frame that you need that sits on top of the box. Because remember, these are just flimsy plastic things and that snap together. And without the frame, I was like, this is ridiculous. So I sent that back and I started spent more time looking for exactly what I wanted with the top piece that kind of holds the whole thing together. Also, the first one that I bought didn't have lids for every box. They expected you to stack them 4 boxes high. And I only want to stack them 2 boxes high. I need a lid for every box so that I know the thing's going to hold together on its own. I don't want something else, another box holding the thing together. It'll be too flimsy. And so I found one that works. And once I snapped it together and I put some stuff in there, I bought another set of 4. So now I've got 8 very large boxes. And so then what did I have to do? And remember, I'm doing this during my busy time at work. And I remembered how my husband and I moved. And when we moved, I've done this with him twice. He goes in and instead of marking the moving boxes, box 1, box 2, or he doesn't mark them living room, dining room, kitchen. He marks them box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, box 5, and takes a legal pad and writes down every single thing that you put in that box. And it works great because we still have stuff that we've never unpacked that we're not really willing to get rid of because we know where it is.
Right.
It's in box 530. We had a lot of boxes. So I said, when I move this stuff out of the dining room, I need to know where stuff is. So I'm going to catalog, I'm going to inventory everything that I'm pulling out. And I'm glad that I did that. I have 3 color wheels. Actually, I have 4 color wheels because I don't know where stuff is. And then I buy a new one or I forget that I have it. So I buy a new one. And I know, listener, there's plenty of you that do the same thing. You know that you have whatever, you can't find it or you've forgotten that you had it. So you bought another one. And I am very bad with art supplies doing that. I have so many art supplies that I've duplicated. I have 2 light boxes. I have, you only need 1 light box. I have 2 electric erasers. And that one, I know that I bought the extra one because I forgot I had the first one. So I am now in the process. I'm almost done of basically inventorying everything, putting it down on a piece of paper. And then I'm typing it into Google Docs. I'll probably be transferring, or Google Sheets. I'll probably be transferring everything to Excel. And then I sort it by name. And I'm now in the process of updating the names because I'm like, okay, I have student canvases, which I wrote down student canvas. What I really need to write is canvas dash student. So when I search for a canvas, I know what type of canvas I have, what the size is. I was writing 11 by 17 canvas, and I'm like, no, because 11 by 17 is the size. That doesn't need to be first. So in fact, it was either today or yesterday, my husband came up to me and said, the dining room is starting to look really good because you can see the table now. Most of the stuff is out of there. And what I'm doing now is basically refining. So when I find something that I know goes with something else, instead of putting it in a new box, I'm trying to put it, when I say box, I mean the storage containers. And these are really nice because they have clear, that you can see sort of what's in them. But I'm labeling them box 1, box 2. I'm putting labels on them so that I can find them. And then when I look for something, I'll be able to search by the thing's name and it'll tell me what box it's in. And then if it's inside something else, like I have clear plastic boxes inside the big boxes, I'll put it's inside a clear box so that I know where it is. And then a lot of times I'll label that box. So here's the thing. I've been living with this big mess now for about 5 years. And like Barbara said, when your life is organized, it can bring you so much more joy. And it's less chaotic when you have things organized, put away, and a place for everything. And so it just so happens, Barbara and I did not plan this. We were just saying, hey, what do you want to talk about? And I'm like, well, hey, you've got this new closet and I've got this new organizer thing in my lanai that's actually turning my lanai into an art studio. Let's talk about that. So I would suggest the listener to look around your house and figure out, is there something that's chaotic in your house? And if there is there a way for you to organize that chaos and control it? And it doesn't mean you have to spend a ton of money on a closet organizer. You can go down to Home Depot. You can go on YouTube and say, how to measure so that YouTube's wonderful. You can say how to create my own custom closet or something like that. And you can probably find directions on how to do what Barbara did, but with the wire storage that you can buy at Home Depot. I mean, you can buy the wood, the pressed wood storage too, but it is a lot more expensive. And I know we've got listeners of all incomes and all financial backgrounds here. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do organization. The boxes that I bought, I spent about $135 for 4 boxes times 2. And the cypress was going to be well over that. So think about, what do you really need? And I think that I'm going to be a lot happier with these plastic boxes too, because I can see in. I'm pretty sure that they're not going to go bad because of the humidity out there. So anyway, that's my organization story.
Well, I think there's some keys to what we were talking about, though, and there's some distinct steps. There's no point buying a bunch of storage boxes if you're going to get rid of things. And so the first step is to really, with a critical eye, decide, what do I need to keep and what can I part with? And there's all kinds of ways you can do that. But for me, it's like, is it broken? Does it need to be fixed? Is it sentimental? Does it still fit me? Does it still look good? And if the answer is like no to any of those, then it's like, why am I keeping it? So a good purge is a great way to start. And then, like what you did, very, very distinctly categorizing, putting like things together. And it is amazing what you'll find. I had to laugh as I was listening to you because my husband just couldn't part with all these things. And so he just threw stuff into boxes. And we've got 12 more boxes out at our son's house. And you can't see in them, right? They're the Costco black with the yellow, which are really nice for stacking, but you have no idea what's in there. And he opened one up and there was like 4 of one thing and 3 of another thing. I go, why do you have so many of those? Well, because I couldn't find them when I did a project. So I just went to Home Depot and bought more. And I went, okay, right. So let's just do this. It could be cheaper to get organized, because then if you knew where everything was, you wouldn't need to go out and buy, 4 drills and 4 screwdrivers and all this stuff. A lot of the stuff he bought for one project and then never used it again. And then once you categorize it and organize it, there are so many storage solutions that are from every type, small, large, whatever. And I think it's good to get it all contained and do some measuring. Because like the smaller boxes weren't going to work. I had some boxes for my, my papers. I try to be not a paper person, but, there's just bills and medical things and things that come. When I was in the motorhome, I had some plastic stackable boxes, but they don't fit in my new storage. So I bought some that kind of have like the little fabric on them from Amazon, and they just look so much nicer. So I'm going to donate these plastic storage boxes that are perfectly good, but I don't need them anymore. I think there's a tendency when you don't need something to say, well, I just bought it. It's good. Let it go. And
I agree.
Then to your point, categorizing what you have so you know what you have. It sounds like I need to come to your house and you need to shed some of your art supplies and I can bring them home.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. When you come, you can make some art with me and you can take the art home. Absolutely. You could do that.
There we go.
But it sounds like your husband needs to, the hardest thing that I'm doing right now is that categorizing.
Yep.
That is the hardest thing. Like, what do I call this?
Yep.
Where should it go? That is the hardest thing. The brain power. I've been doing this for, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks. Yeah. This is a project where if I would have just thrown them all in the box, they would have been in there in a day. But I'm thinking, no, I want to know what I have. I'm going to keep it online. I'm going to keep it in a spreadsheet so that I don't keep buying extra stuff that I already have or think that I need something when I've got something similar that can work. Maybe I don't have the 11 by 17 canvas, but maybe a 10 by 15 will work. I'm just making this up, but you know what I'm saying? I don't need to have every single thing in the world. I can still make art with what I have.
Right. But the beauty of the categorization of the way you and Les are doing it is that a crippling thing is to think about what do I call it and how do I call it and how do I put it in order and then writing it on the outside. You doing it in Google Sheets or Excel or whatever, you can change your mind and you will.
And I have.
When you're changing things, but the box number won't change and the description won't change much, but you can change it. So I got to think about that for applying that to some of my husband's stuff, like putting it in a category.
Today, I moved something from one box to another because it made sense to move it. And when I was putting things away, there's this thing called, I don't know what it's called, gum. It's a paint. It's a rubber paint that you put on paper to prevent watercolor from going on there. So you might use regular tape or you might use this gum. It's like this blue. I have 2 of them. One was open and one wasn't. So they were not together. And so when I found the other one, I wrote open on the lid of the one that was open and I put the non-opened one in the same plastic baggie so that they would be together. And so I'm finding things that I knew I may or may not have known that I had, but I'm trying to put them together with like thing. And that's why I'm doing the Google Sheet, because I have already changed the name of certain things and I can combine them. What I did today was I sorted them by name and I found some things that need to be together. And so I will be moving them before I'm finished. So it is taking me longer than normal, but oh my gosh, I'm not finished yet. And I already feel a huge weight lifted off my chest. It's fantastic.
Whether it's the new year, spring cleaning, whatever it is, here's your little nudge. Find a little corner of your house. Start small. Don't overwhelm yourself. And organize, purge, and clean up one little corner of your world. And then just keep doing it and don't get overwhelmed. And before you know it, you're going to walk into your closet and smile like I do every day.
Absolutely. So listener, thank you so much for listening once again to the show. And we'll see you next time on the Rock Your Retirement Show. Bye.
Bye.